Hey guys, Terry here again, still the one-arm wonder. This time I want to actually go through the April market update. And there's going to be a lot of information. Slides are going to end up on the screen, or stats will end up on the screen. And I'll put some chapter content in here so you can break it down by chapter. But let's kind of start. I'm doing this at a little bit more towards the end of May, because I wanted to get a good handle on everything that happened in the month of April. But I am honestly a little bit late. And again, I'll take the excuse because I had surgery and I'm recovering and I want everybody to feel sorry for me. But let's go ahead and get things rolling. So we're going to talk about Greeley, Windsor, Loveland, Johnstown, and Fort Collins. And I'm also going to talk about the whole Northern Colorado, or all of those in kind of comparatively and as a group. So what happened in April? So let's talk about the region at a glance, just those towns at a glance combined. In the month of April alone, we had 659 houses sold. So that's a pretty significant number. That means that buyers are starting to move a little bit more. Sellers are starting to give in to some of the concessions. So inventory is starting to actually float. Total sales volume was around 400 million. The median price. Now, remember, median price means half of the houses sold for more, half of the whole houses sold for less. But the median price was about 530,000. The average days on market, so if you're thinking of selling a house, the average days on market was 49. So you can expect that around 50 days is about average for what it takes from listing date until sold date. And then we've got about 4 months supply of houses out there at this current rate. So if nobody else ever listed their house, which doesn't happen, we have about 4 months supply. And then the listing to sales ratio. This is a really big one, you guys, and this is pretty impressive. The listing to sales ratio was 100%. That means real estate agents are doing their job in a really good way at appraising a home's market value compared to what buyers are coming in and offering for that house. And that number is significant because it really points to the fact that this is a balanced market right now. When you have a seller's market, what happens is that ratio goes up over 100%. Sometimes that can be 105, 110%. And those are those bidding wars where you hear about multiple offers. When that number is under 100% significantly, that means houses are sitting on the market too long, buyers are just not buying, and they're coming in with lowball offers, and sellers just have to get out from under their house and they just sell for a low list or a low sale price. So 100%, very balanced market right now. So that's the region as a whole. It's looking good. Inventory starting to move better than it did, and I'm feeling really confident about that. So now let's talk about Greeley. So Greeley by itself. And actually, this is Greeley, Garden City, Evans. I've lumped all those together because they're kind of their own community. We had 148 houses that closed in the month of April. The median price was about 432,000. So right about pretty average. It's pretty good, or pretty consistent, about 432,000. I won't bore you with how much volume that was. Those numbers will be on there. Days on market. So houses in Greeley, Evans, Garden City, they're sitting on the market a little bit longer. So we had 56 days on average. Here's what's interesting, okay? It's same thing, 100% list to sale ratio. So houses it's a balanced market, but check it out. We sold 148 houses in that Garden City, Evans, Greeley, but 167 came on the market as new houses. So inventory is increasing. What that means when inventory is increasing is that sellers are getting more confident that they're going to be that they're going to sell their house for what they think it will actually list on the market for. And they're realizing that inventory is starting to move. And as a buyer, when there's more inventory, it gives you more options to choose from, and it keeps that price a lot more stable. So we're really happy with that right there. And then the next thing is we've got basically 54% of all new listings are coming under contract within the first month. So when I say 56 days on market, that's really 56 days from the day it lists until the day it closes. So if you understand closing, usually a close is 30 days. So you're talking 3 to 4 weeks that a house is on the market before somebody puts in an offer, and then it's another month until it actually closes. So 54% of houses are actually going under contract in the first month. That's a really big number. So that's what Greeley looks like. Again, Greeley, Garden City, Evans. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to Windsor. So the Windsor area is a little bit different. Right now, when I talked in a previous video overall about what's happening in the Colorado market. And in the month of, so for 2026 as a whole, the median house price for sale in Windsor was $574. But in the month of April, that median house price was actually $537, which really means there's more affordable housing at the starter home price, or maybe a not the starter home, but maybe like a downsizing. So there's a lot of people that are downsizing right now. So there's several of those that are moving in Windsor, and they happen to move in the month of April. So we had 117 closed sales, we had 139 new listings, but different than Greeley, only 36% of new listings went under contract in the first month. That's still not bad. Average days on market, 56, but the new listings took a little bit of time, and they're sitting on the market a little bit longer. And some of the houses that were on the market in the month of March ended up coming in under contract in April. So again, Windsor's still showing a very stable, what we'd call a neutral market, not necessarily buyer or seller, but another great economy to look into. And then let's talk about Loveland. So Loveland's an interesting one. Even though Windsor is a premium area to live, Windsor is on the move right now. And Windsor's on the move because there's some major renovations happening to Windsor as a whole. If you've been in the Windsor area, you see Centera growing. You see, you should know by now that Costco has actually signed a contract to build across from where Shields is. So on one side of the highway, that's on Highway 34, that's Johnstown. The other side is actually Windsor, I believe, or no, Loveland, excuse me. So there's a Costco coming into that Centera area. And then of course the entire Centera West project that's just south of Target complex, that whole construction has really kicked off. So in Loveland, we closed 163 houses. We brought 218 on the market. About 36% of new listings went under contract. So we're holding pretty steady. Greeley's a real anomaly. I think that's because the house prices are lower in Greeley. And the median house price in Loveland was $560. So that's actually a bit higher than I would have expected. But still, 46 days is your average on market. So things are moving in Loveland pretty quickly. And I think it's real, and this is just speculation. This is just me kind of following kind of the news. I really believe that's because the city construction projects or the growth projects in Loveland are taking a stronghold right now, and you can see it. And people want to move into that kind of area where things are growing, where things are improving, and where there's actually a growth pattern right now. And I think that whole Centera area is going to drive a lot of that. Johnstown. Johnstown's a great place right now. So not a lot of inventory is moving in Johnstown. Some of that is because a lot of Johnstown is under new construction. So the houses have not been selling until they're coming on available. So I only had 60 houses that closed in Johnstown, but 95 new listings came on the market. Again, a lot of that is because of new construction. 40% of new listings went under contract in the same month. The median house price is really affordable, you guys. The median house price is at $482. So if you're really thinking about some place that you need a starter home, you don't want to do an owner occupy, and Johnstown is within a good commute time for you, you're looking at $482,000. These numbers do include Milliken, but Milliken's numbers were pretty low on their own. So I just lumped them in with Johnstown. So again, Johnstown, really great affordable area, and there's some great new construction opportunities in Johnstown. One thing I'll tell you about new construction in any one of these markets, please bring an agent with you. The selling agents for new construction, they're great people, they're really nice, but you have to know that their job is actually to act on behalf of the seller. So a buyer's agent that comes with you as a buyer, it costs you no money to bring your own agent as a buyer. All it does is it helps you negotiate a better deal and costs nothing out of your pocket. So bring your own agent in. I urge you. And then lastly, Fort Collins. Let's talk about Fort Collins. So median house price in Fort Collins is quite elevated. And this one actually sits above Denver. The median house price in Fort Collins is $620,000, and that's pretty high. But that's indicative of Fort Collins. And for those of you that know Fort Collins, you're very familiar with that's going to make a lot of sense. The average days on market really fast. So Fort Collins is growing like crazy, and houses are only sitting 37 days on market before they actually go up for sale or before they go under contract. We had 171 closed sales, 238 new listings. So people are starting to move their houses in Fort Collins, and 46% of those houses that came under or that were listed in April, excuse me, went under contract in April also. That's an incredible number right there. All right, so now let's talk about how it stacks up. I'm going to kind of do a real simple one. You're going to see these numbers on the screen, but obviously we've got Greeley comes in at the lowest median house price at $431, and then we've got Johnstown at $482, Windsor at $537, Loveland at $560, and Fort Collins at $620. The houses that are moving the fastest right now are in that Greeley area. Well, no, in the Fort Collins area right now. So Fort Collins is moving pretty quick, but you're paying a premium for there as well. So all in all, though, Northern Colorado is still holding steady with more affordable housing on average than Denver and Boulder as kind of a metro area. And I don't really do any market analysis south of Denver, so I couldn't really tell you what's happening much down south of Denver. But from Denver north, Northern Colorado is holding steady with affordability, and there's a lot of options for you, especially if you're gonna move into that I-25 corridor. It's a great place to be. What does it mean for buyers? So for buyers, what does it mean is that there's more inventory now than there was this time last year. 100% list to sale price really means houses are priced at the right spot. So when you go online and you look at a house's price, the odds are that's real stinking close to the price that you're actually going to pay. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for you. And then Johnstown and Loveland are offering the most amount of negotiating room right now out of all of those. But you got to remember, in real estate, everything's negotiable. Make sure that you find an agent that's very data-driven, that understands how to take a look at the market and take a look at neighborhoods specifically and work for you. Sellers, pricing strategy matters more than ever. Buyers know that whatever the price is, that's about what they're going to pay. But the thing is, what's happening on the market right now is the houses that are sitting longer on the market are the ones that their list price is actually coming down for the actual contract price. So you've got to strategize your price and work with your selling agent to price it right the first time. Otherwise, you're going to sit on the market. And everybody knows historically, your listing agent will tell you this, that if you price too high, just trying to see how it goes, on average, statistically, 70% of those houses end up selling for less than if you priced it at the right spot in the beginning. Fort Collins and Greeley are still the favorite sites for sellers right now on well-prepped homes. And the first 2 weeks of a listing is where you carry most of your leverage. So price it right, stage it right, make sure that you're taking the advice of your listing agent on how to actually declutter your house and all of the tips that it takes to actually get your house ready for those first 2 weeks, and schedule the open houses with your listing agent aggressively, and be ready for those open houses with a clean cut yard, great curb appeal, nice clean decluttered house. They'll walk you through it. And if you need help with that, give me a call. My contact info is actually going to be in this post. I'm Terry at Elite Edge, powered by EXP. We can definitely help you out, and we've got some great strategies as far as listing a house and how to walk you through that. Or we're very data-driven on the buying side and can help you negotiate. So looking forward to working with you, and have a great month of May.